New York, the suspect in a deadly truck rampage was inspired by the Islamic State group's online videos and plotted his New York City attack for 2 months, renting a truck ahead of time to practice turning it, federal authorities said in a criminal complaint bringing terrorism charges against the Uzbek immigrant. Saifullah Saipov chose the attack date to target Halloween crowds, according to the criminal complaint. And after his trail of terror was halted by a police bullet, he asked to display the Islamic State group's flag in his hospital room, saying he felt good about what he had done, authorities said. Brought to court in a wheelchair, Saipov was held without bail on charges that could bring the death penalty. Separately, the FBI was questioning people who might have information about his actions before the attack, including a second Uzbek man. The charges against Saipov, 29, came just a day after the attack near the World Trade Center killed 8 people. Investigators in multiple states raced to retrace Saipov's steps and understand his motivations, which they said were illuminated by a note he left by the truck Islamic supplication. It will endure. The phrase "it will endure" commonly refers to the Islamic State group, and Saipov had a cell phone loaded with the group's propaganda, an FBI agent said in the criminal complaint. Handcuffed and with his legs shackled, Saipov nodded his head as he was read his rights in a brief court proceeding that he followed through a Russian interpreter. Outside court, his appointed lawyer, David Patton, said he hoped everyone lets the judicial process play out. "I promise you that how we treat Mr. Saipov in this judicial process will say a lot more about us than it will say about him," Patton said. The FBI released a poster saying it was looking for one of Saipov's associates, Muhammadjwar Kadyrov, only to announce less than 90 minutes later that it had found him. A law enforcement official said Kadyrov was a friend of Saipov's and may not have any role in the case. The official wasn't authorized to speak publicly and spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity. A married father of 3 and former commercial truck and ride-hailing driver, Saipov began planning an attack a year ago and settled on a truck assault a couple of months ago, according to the criminal complaint. During the last few weeks, Saipov searched the internet for information on Halloween in New York City and rented a truck to practice turns. He chose a route along a lower Manhattan highway and initially hoped to continue to hit more pedestrians on the Brooklyn Bridge, the complaint said. Ultimately, Saipov sped down a bike path on a riverfront esplanade in a rented truck for nearly a mile Tuesday, running down cyclists and pedestrians, before crashing into a school bus, authorities said. He was shot after he jumped out of the vehicle brandishing 2 air guns and yelling "God is great." In Arabic, they said. Knives were found in a bag he was carrying. In the past few years, the Islamic State group has exhorted followers online to use vehicles, knives or other close-at-hand means of killing people in their home countries. England, France and Germany have all seen deadly vehicle attacks since mid-2016. Saipov's court appearance came just hours after President Donald Trump said he would consider sending Saipov to the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center in Cuba, an idea the White House reinforced by saying it considered Saipov to be an enemy combatant. Detainees at Guantanamo accused of supporting militants have faced military tribunals, rather than trials in the U.S. legal system. By afternoon, though, Saipov was in federal court facing charges that include providing material support to a terrorist group. Trump's administration could, at least in theory, still send the suspect to the U.S. base in Cuba later, though such a step would be unprecedented. Late Wednesday night, the president took to Twitter to say that Saipov should get the death penalty. Trump also has called for eliminating the 1990s visa lottery program that Saipov used to come to the U.S. in 2010. John Miller, deputy New York Police Commissioner for Counterterrorism, said Saipov had never been the subject of a criminal investigation by the FBI or New York police, but appears to have links to people who have been investigated. He wouldn't elaborate. The attack killed 5 people from Argentina, 1 from Belgium and 2 Americans, authorities said. 12 people were injured. City leaders vowed New York would not be intimidated and said Sunday's New York City Marathon would go on as scheduled, with increased security. Associated Press writers Dake King in Stowe, Ohio, Jennifer Peltz, Tom Hayes, Karen Matthews and Kylie Armstrong in New York, Deepti Hajela and Wayne Perry in Paterson, New Jersey, Sean Marsh in Trenton, New Jersey, Tamara Lush in Tampa, Florida, Ben Fox in Miami, Michael Balsamo in Los Angeles, and Michigan.